In this video, we're going to be talking about the expressive elements that you can incorporate into your conducting. I'm just going to be touching on some of the basic ones that we talked about at camp, and you can feel free to incorporate other things that you find to be appropriate and help communicate the music in your show. But let's just go through some of the basic ones that we see most commonly. So one area of expression is how many hands do you have up? Most of our high school drum majors are going to be doing hand conducting. They don't have batons. You don't have batons. So thinking about where can I use maybe just one hand so that this hand is free to do other things like that. So you can start to work in that left hand independence. It does take some practice, but it's a really great tool that you can use to help you communicate. Dynamics, articulation, anything else that you can do with that left hand to help communicate what's in the music. So maybe try experimenting with some of the left hand independence and really see what you can do with the different hands to communicate more. Using your space is the next thing that we're going to talk about. So you'll notice that I used a lot of these gestures. Can go over your head. So think about everything that you can do with your space beyond just sitting here and keeping time. So again, that'll go into your left hand gestures, above, flat. We don't want to try to go too far below because then it's hard for the band to look at that. So you want to stay in their field of vision, which is really from probably like your stomach up. The other thing that you can do is use your body. So you don't have to stand still the whole time. A little squat can be really effective when you're communicating maybe a sudden change in dynamics or the style of your piece suddenly changed. A little jump or a foot stomp can be effective too, although I would really encourage you to save that for maybe the bigger moments towards the end of your show or at the beginning. You don't want to be doing that all the time. It's like your special secret, your secret weapon. You want to be able to save it for times where it can really be impactful. You can drop time altogether. This is something that you might try to incorporate later in the season when the band has really internalized their tempos. But at K-State, for example, usually in all of our big shows at the end, we have a knee bow section where they're usually playing long extended chords. The band is coming forward, they're getting ready to do their dramatic knee bows. And at that point, they don't really need tempo from me as a drum major. So I'm going to be, bringing my hands out to encourage them to play loud and with strength and really with power as they come forward. They don't need me to keep tempo here. They can hold their power chords and internalize that in their head and in their feet. So that would be an example of dropping time altogether. You're not doing anything here. It's all in your hands and your facial expressions and everything you're doing to bring power and powerful sound out of the band. And then last but certainly not least, your facial expressions are a great way for you to communicate expressive elements in your music. So the power of the eyebrows. Think about how many different faces you could make with your eyebrows alone. And when you're doing this, you may feel like you look ridiculous. However, our faces and our facial expressions are going to be like stage makeup. We're going to want to make it bigger and better because we're communicating to people that are, yards in front of us. So if it feels big, if it feels ridiculous, you're probably doing it right. And you will catch their attention, and that sends a message to them that they can then communicate in their playing and in their marching alike. So please experiment with your expressive elements, plan your artistry, work together as a team, because once you can get away from just keeping time, that's going to open so many doors for you and your band.